another installment of the Ask Chad Grassy Logic podcast. Today, have a new guest, as I usually do. Today is Anthony from Buffalo Buds. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Anthony.
My name's Anthony Quintana. I'm with Buffalo Bud Farming Company out of Silver City, New Mexico. I'm the sales and marketing director for the company.
Nice. And how long have you been with the company?
So we've been working on the project for a little over 3 years, and we've been open for about a year.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you joining me, and we'll get more into Buffalo Buds here in a second. But I just want to thank all of you. Having a hard time talking today. Thank all of you for joining today for this new episode. So Anthony actually has a bunch of stuff with me today. We're going to show you guys, and we have a bunch of other stuff to talk about. But first, we're going to talk about Buffalo Buds. So can you give me some background on Buffalo Buds, a little history, I guess?
So we started off in dabbling in the hemp industry before it went rec in the state. And we did a little bit of consulting stuff in Arizona and Colorado before we actually got into the market here in New Mexico. We're from New Mexico, but we did that before New Mexico government actually made it recreational. And then once they made it recreational, we started working on it in 2020.
Okay.
And we just started building it as soon as it went legal. We opened up our doors as soon as we had our license. We were actually one of the first consumption lounge licenses to get issued, the second one in the state.
Yeah.
And we were probably within the first like 50 or 100 licenses to get approved for our retail cultivation and manufacturing. So we're fully integrated.
Yeah, fully integrated. That's great. Yeah, and you guys are out in Silver, so I see you guys around and everything, and it's kind of great to kind of connect a little bit more and get to go visit you guys. That one time where I was in Silver City a couple weeks ago, and that was really cool. You got the big old buffalo in front and everything.
Yeah, we try to work with everybody out there. I mean, we're with Jeffrey from High Lonesome, and work with them. We work with Brennan from Monsoon, and there's a couple other people out there that we work with. Ari from Gila River Organics and stuff like that. So
nice, just keeping it,
try to keep it local.
Yeah, that's pretty
local
cool
for the most part. But then we work with a lot of people here from Las Cruces too, as well, because I was born and raised actually here in Cruces.
Okay.
So we work with like Rob from Headspace, and work with a couple other people, Zach from Mesilla Valley Extracts and stuff like that. So
nice. Yeah. So you kind of collaborate, and that's what the industry's about and how it should be. There should be these collaborations going on anyway.
Yeah. Showing love.
Great. Yeah, exactly. Showing love for the locals and everything.
Yeah.
So you do have, one of the few consumption lounges that we have in the state. Like, can you talk about that? Like, what was the process of getting the consumption lounge? Was it a pain in the ass?
It wasn't a pain in the ass. It was more so just making sure that everything that we were doing was like legal and getting the labeling right for the style of what we're doing. So we're not just where you could like smoke. You could actually go and get the food actually infused. So you could sit down, have a New York strip steak. That's the butter, you know what I mean? That's on top of the steak is infused. And we're only doing a certain limit of milligrams per customer
dish.
So that way we could kind of like dabble with it. But I think the biggest issue is just getting rid of the stigma of being able to consume in public. I think that's one of the biggest hurdles, because it's still kind of taboo with people, even though it's completely legal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where people are afraid to be out in public, to be smoking on a joint or hitting a bowl or even just our bongs, even just eating, bro. Like it's kind of funny, but we're trying to get rid of that stigma and just make it a little bit normal. And it is normal. I mean, it's been around forever, bro. But it's just one of those hurdles. You know what I mean? So that's as far as the licensing, it wasn't really hard with the licensing, but I think just making sure that you're following all the regulations that the CCD is putting out there with labeling, signage, security, just stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's all that little stuff, and I kind of feel sometimes it's a little bit of an overreach from the government, the kind of stuff that we have to do.
Some of it, but then some of it's not, just because of the liability aspect of it. So it kind of works hand in hand. I always look at it this way: if you're ever going to open up a business, it's like there's always going to be rules.
Yeah,
and it's like
red tape everywhere.
Everywhere. Like even in the. So my background before even this, what my degree is culinary arts and business, and even in the restaurant industry, there's so much little things like red tape everywhere. So for me, it wasn't like a big issue just because we've been doing business for so long, and other I don't know the right word for it, but
industries?
Like, yeah, there you go. Other industries, and it's like, I just go with the flow, but it's been fun. It's definitely been fun, and it's been interesting because it's brand new.
Yeah.
So you're working on stuff and you're changing, and that's where I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy jumping those hurdles.
Yeah, and I was in the military for a while, so I'm kind of used to bureaucracy. The bureaucratic BS that you have to go through. So yeah, at certain times when there's paperwork, I'm like, I hate this, but at least I know how to do it.
Yeah, sure.
And that helps. And I really want to talk about the stigma thing because there is still a lot of stigma when it comes to it. And the way that yours is set up is really interesting because you have the dispensary here. You have like this little area in between the restaurant and the dispensary where the consumption area is. And then you have the full restaurant where I guess you can do both.
Yeah.
With it. Well, that's actually really cool. It's something that you don't really see.
Yeah, and we did it that way. So the property line, so that was one of the things with the state. You couldn't intermix alcohol with the consumption of cannabis.
Yeah.
So we put the consumption lounge in between the two, so that way we could get our food from where the restaurant is, but then it comes over, and then that's where we do the infusions. But we put it there to get rid of that stigma, so that way there's windows that sorry, I was all waving at Lindsay. We did it where the windows are, so that way the place of where it's right next to Mix 33 Lounge, and that area is a 21 and over restaurant.
Okay.
So it's all adults. So that's where we made it to make it a little bit more viewable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that way, when people see it, they understand that people aren't acting crazy. Or they're not getting stoned out of their mind and stuff like that. And that's part of what we want to create there. And we did do it a lot different than every other consumption lounge that we've seen in the state. So I've been to 3 other consumption lounges in the state, and none of them are like the way that we're doing it. But we worked with the CCD when we were doing it and asked a lot of questions and and clarified and made sure that we were doing it right. But the biggest thing is just making it to where it is viewable, and obviously not viewable to the public from the street or nothing like that, but to where if you're an adult, you're 21.
Yeah. I mean, you can go to a restaurant and order a beer this tall and no one says anything. But if I have a bong this tall and I'm smoking a little bowl, for some reason they see it totally different.
It's just the stigma. It's weird. And even with us, like, so we've always been involved in the industry in one way or another. And like, even when we were getting involved, people were like taken back because they're like, what? Like, just the view of it, like of what you said, with it's just dealing with stuff, and they're, do you smoke weed? And I'm like, yeah, man. You know what I mean?
Like, who doesn't these days, right?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things, and to each their own. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's not nothing bad. I know of worse things than smoking weed. And then even with us owning a bar, so let me clear. My dad owns the bar, and then my mom, we owned the dispensary. So the seeing that and seeing the way people act when they're drinking versus sometimes when they're smoking, it's day and night.
Yeah, it's a side-by-side comparison almost too.
Yeah, and you get to see it. And I personally feel that it's a lot safer to consume cannabis than it is to get behind the wheel when you're drinking.
Yeah.
And the only reason why is setting those limits though too. So that's why with the consumption lounge, we set those limits, and we don't allow people to, go and get their steak infused, do a bong rip, smoke a joint, smoke a blunt, and then to finish it off, do a dab. We don't allow nothing like that. So we set our in-house rules because there's really no state laws or legislation saying what the limits are for smoking other than buying. You know what I mean? Of whether you're medical or recreational, you can only buy a limit, but to actually let someone smoke their limit of what they could buy, bro, that it would be crazy.
That's insane, especially a medical patient. 8 ounces, like that would be insane. I think it's 430 units or something like
that.
Yeah,
it'd be nuts. And there's some people that might think that they could tolerate it. You know what I mean? It's like those people that come in and they drink and they're like, we could have 8 shots and we're fine and we could get behind the wheel. There's those people that'll be like, I could take 4 dabs, bro, and I'll be good. And you're like, I don't care. You do it on your own time, like not while you're here. So it's kind of jumping through those hurdles, you know what I mean? And then like even like I said, of figuring out the legalities of, you know, with separating the entities of the bar and the lounge, because that's also one of the things. You can't have a liquor license and the owner of the liquor license can't own cannabis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I find that a little ridiculous, to be honest. Yeah.
I think that it's just, why not? You know what I mean? What's the issue? So that's where with that, I partnered with my mom because she doesn't have anything to do with the restaurants, and neither do I. I'm the executive. I'm the food and beverage director I'm the food and beverage director for the restaurants, and then for the farm and the retail and all that stuff, I'm the sales and marketing director.
Yeah.
So my mom owns the cannabis business, and then my dad owns, and they don't, you know what I mean? It's two separate LLCs. My mom's she's not a member of an LLC on this, and my dad's not a member of the LLC on that. So, but I think that it is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, what's the issue?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are actually doing that in the state because they own liquor licenses, and then they went and they opened up a retail. And they're like, well, we can't own a retail and own a liquer license. Yeah. So it's kind of
put in someone else's name, essentially, you know?
Yeah. Well, and it's just dumb. You know what I mean? It's like, why not?
Because you have these out-of-state entities, you know, like people from El Paso. I know some that have liquor licenses, and then they come to New Mexico and they just get a retail license for cannabis, and there's no issue because they're from a different state, you know. And so that kind of screws New Mexicans over further. You know, like certain things that they've implemented have only allowed out-of-state entities to kind of thrive here.
Yeah, and you see it. They're coming in, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? There's nothing wrong with big companies coming in and doing what they do. But at the end of the day, it should be where New Mexico residents were put first.
Yeah.
And to really push that, because, you know, a lot of us have been waiting for this day to come. And now it's here, but then they opened up what was supposed to take a while, literally took like 3 months. And they're like, all right, all the out-of-town people, because remember when they first did pass the legislation, I don't know if you remember when they were saying, you know, we're not going to allow anybody for the first year to come in. And then literally like 3 months later, they just were like, okay, well, we're allowing out-of-state companies to come in. And
because they changed the wording of the legislation. I remember like it changed because they had that had a meeting on that, and it was kind of controversial. You know, it was kind of like, oh, I don't know about that. But now what happened is we didn't think what was going to happen on the local government side. So the local government have been allowed to create certain rules that have allowed the out-of-state entities to thrive even more. Like here in Cruces, we have that 300-foot rule. Well, the out-of-state entities usually have more money, and so they're allowed to play the waiting game, pay all the stuff, and pay for the fees. Because here you can still be within 300 feet. You just need a special use permit. So like they still get it anyway. It's just more steps, and the out-of-state entities are getting it over the in-state people who are born and raised here. And so I kind of feel that, you know, we need to really go back and kind of look at that, because, you know, there's chat of people wanting to close licensing. I'm like, well, you still have New Mexicans trying to get in because they're stuck in this red tape that you guys inadvertently or advertently, either whichever one it is, created. You know, like it's here, it needs to change. And, you know, we're kind of just finally starting to see, you know, the implications of what we put into this law. So yeah, it's definitely something we're going to be looking at for a while.
Yeah, I hope they don't stop licensing, because then it's just going to turn into the same thing of what liquor licenses did for so long, where they only printed so many, and then you end up having to go and buy a liquor license for $500,000. You know what I mean? At one point, the package licenses got over $1 million, and nobody could afford them except for big entities or big corporations that were coming in from out of town. And then the few mom and pop stores that bought them back in the 80s or 70s, those were the only ones that held on to them. But it turned into a mess. And then what ended up happening is that they went and they created that $10,000 license, and then it pissed all the people that thought that they had the retirement, and you know what I mean, and then that devalued the license. So I think that they should just leave it open. And it's kind of like me and a couple of buddies were talking about, you know, it's kind of, that's the American way of survival of the fittest. If you're a good business person, you're going to make it work, and you're going to make it, you're going to find your niche, and you're going to stick with it, and hopefully you thrive. And if not, you know, I mean, sometimes that's the way stuff works out. And even with us, we've been open for a year, and there's, you know, 10 dispensaries in Silver City. There's only 10,000 people in the whole town. So that's 1,000 for every license. There's 1,000 people, and that's not even the 1,000 smokers. There might be only 5,000 smokers. So then it's 500, you know what I mean?
So you're cutting thin even more further.
It's cutting it down, and there's tons of growers, man. There's so many growers, and it's kind of funny. And then there's the people that they just grow on their own, which is cool. We support all of it. You know what I mean? We want, the main issue of what we're trying to do is get rid of the stigma, and to, first and foremost, it's like cannabis is a medicine. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we want people to have availability to their medicine, or whether, even if it's recreational, but something that fits them properly. You know what I mean? To where it's like, even with me, I can't smoke everything. Some stuff has different effects on me, and I'm like, you know, like Smokey in the Birdcage, dude. Like, it's to find the right fit, and to get knowledgeable people, and to educate the public, and to educate even our bud tenders on our product. And that's one of the reasons why we grow a lot of our stuff, because, you know, we know exactly what we're doing with our product, the stuff that we grow, the stuff that we infuse, the stuff that, you know, whatever we're making, we have really great knowledge. But then also to get with people that are also knowledgeable on the product that what they're growing or producing. Yeah. So that way we carry that. And I think that's just one of the biggest things. But it's fun, man.
Yeah, it is. And you know, to talk about that, you know, you were talking about, you know, you guys grow, and that was going to be one of my questions. Do you guys carry only your cannabis, or do you have other people's cannabis too?
So we try to we try to support as many farmers as we possibly can. So right now we're harvesting about every 2 months, probably around 15 to 25 pounds, just depending on what strains we're growing. So even with that, we hold on to some of it, and we do some of our infusions with it, or we make our distillates, but we get other flower from other farmers. So like, again, we've gotten stuff from Matchbox here in Las Cruces. We've gotten stuff from Premier Cannabis, which they do some wholesaling. We've done stuff with I don't know, High Lonesome, the Monsoon Cannabis. We've worked with True Roots out of Albuquerque. We've worked with Happy out of Albuquerque.
So you guys are spreading it out. You know,
we try to buy. I think that's why we try to buy as much different flower and products that we can. I mean, even with edibles, we work with High Five Edibles. We work with The Kitchen. Those are two of the main ones. Assurance Labs. We try to work with everybody, and that's why I say, even when you come into our shop, it's small, but we have such a broad variety of different products and farms and manufacturers, because it would be boring if it was just our stuff. And granted, our stuff is it is quality stuff, but at the end of the day, there's so many talented people in the industry that have been waiting for this, like I said, forever. Yeah. And that was even in the medical industry before, you know what I mean? And that they were just really good manufacturers, you know what I mean? And we work with them closely, and we're always willing to work with other people. And we even want to get our product out to other people too. And that's where we're going to start doing a little bit more wholesaling and stuff like that too, with our flower and infused products. We're going to get into the edible licensing. So we have our class 4 manufacturing license, but we only do up to class 3, just because we don't have enough space for some of the equipment. But as far as making edibles, you know, we're going to start getting into all that stuff, and kind of just getting our brand and our product a little bit more out there, because we don't have it in very many places.
Yeah, I mean, and being in Silver, you know, it's kind of tucked away. You know, it's a little harder to get out, because it's kind of just in its own area.
It's a hidden gem.
It's a little hidden area. I love going there. It's a little cooler. Yeah. It's kind of like I wouldn't say reverse Ruidoso because I guess there's just less tree coverage.
Yeah.
But you're still high altitude. It's cooler.
Yeah, it's about 7,000
Yeah.
feet above sea level. Like the town itself is like right around like 55, but once you get up into the mountains, it's around 775. It is cooler. It's nice, and there's like a lot of lakes. There's Bill Evans. There's Lake Roberts. There's tons of rivers.
I like Bill Evans.
Yeah, there's tons of rivers, dude. There's hot springs. There's the cliff dwellings, the catwalk. We get tons of people going out there to hunt. It's a hidden gem. My dad's family's been out there actually like their whole entire life. So,
really?
I have no idea where else they're from. So that's where they're. I always say 1850, but it probably before that. Like it's my dad's side of the family's like that's where they're from.
Yeah.
So that's what took me out there. Yeah, I enjoy it, but it's one of those little hidden things. And if you're gonna go to Silver, it's not by accident. Like you're going to Silver because you're going to Silver
for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I go there for fishing.
So that's hopefully people go there for buffalo butt.
Nice. Yeah, you can get a infused steak.
Yeah.
You're not just getting some flour when you go to the shop. You can go down to the consumption and get some food.
Exactly.
So before we start looking at your product, because I want to check this out, how's the insurance for like a consumption lounge? I've been wanting to ask someone that, but
so just depending, we are insured. So it was hard to find insurance in the very beginning here in New Mexico because nobody in the very beginning insured it.
Rachel's the only one I know of.
Yeah. And now we are with the insurance company. We're still with it. We're with the insurance company out of California.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about like $16,000 to $14,000 a year.
Okay.
For the consumption lounge, and that's with everything. So they insure your consumption lounge, your retail, your grow, everything.
That's cool.
So but
it's pricey, but at the same time, it's kind of worth it.
It is, and it's always good to have insurance, but it's crazy. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Exactly.
Because it's a lot of fucking cash. Dude.
Yeah, no, it is.
And this industry isn't cheap.
No, it's not. You still have the state taxes, then you have the federal taxes. You have to pay that illegal drug dealer tax. And that is what's really killing the industry, especially like in California. That's the reason why a lot of people go to the black market there. So
you can't claim nothing.
No, you can't.
You can't claim it, but you got to pay for it.
Exactly. I mean?
Yeah, you have your workers, but you got to pay your federal tax on all your employees.
Yeah,
and you can't claim any of them. But I mean, there is some kind of when you're in the cultivation and you're in manufacturing, you can claim some of those people. You just can't claim any of the stuff in the retail, and that's because that's the distribution side. There's that again, those areas, and that's where even with my accountant, we're like going and picking through all the, fine line and making sure what we're doing as a company is legal too, and it's stressful in a sense too, because you don't want to mess up, and you don't want to mess up anything of what you're doing and throw it all away because you're passionate about your dream. And I hope they make it federally legal, man.
Yeah.
I think that when they do that, it would open up a lot of stuff. And I also feel that New Mexico is going to become a big mecca of that center point throughout the whole U.S. once it does go federally legal.
Oh, people are waking up to us right now, barely.
Yeah. Well, I kind of hope it stays out.
Me too.
I like New Mexico. And that's the best part about New Mexico. It's not overpopulated. It's still very rural. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like the last of the untouched. And I hope they wake up to it, but I hope they don't. I guess certain things they try to change it into, but then other stuff they don't. Because
I tell people that all the time. I said, this isn't Colorado. This isn't Nevada. This isn't California. This isn't Washington State. This is New Mexico. We're our own thing.
Yeah.
And when you bring stuff from those other states, usually it doesn't work here.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why, and we're very cliquey.
We're used to our ways, dude.
Yeah. And
we're used to our ways.
It's been like that for hundreds of thousands of, if not thousands of years, that's how we've been in our ways. So, but yeah, anyway, I want to give you a chance to, show your product off, because you brought a bunch of cool things with us. So we can get Gino to pop that camera down and we can show some product off right here. So looks like he brought some t-shirts today, some hats, some flowers, some pre-rolls, and we got some stickers, some slaps right here. If you can get the camera, go a little bit more to the other direction. Right, there we go. Cool. Thank you.
So these are just our hats that were made here locally in Las Cruces. They're just some Buffalo Bud hats. It's made by Frankie Duran here in Las Cruces. He's actually a local firefighter, but he also has his hat company. Then he does that, and he makes these hats for us. And then these are some slaps, some stickers. This design was done by that one was done by D2 Design here in Las Cruces, and then this one was done by Boxcar Stickers out of Silver City. So it's the little space buffalo. We've gone.
I like the space buffalo.
So do I, bro. Yeah. And we've always gotten things because everyone's like, oh, everyone's trying to make it all space, and I'm like, who cares?
New Mexico's about space. We've been a part of space since pretty much the inception of space in the United States.
They freaking tested nuclear bomb.
Actually in Goddard too. He was testing the rockets. He was in eastern New Mexico. So we've had a long history. And Alamogordo has the Space Museum. Yeah, exactly. So we're in Cruces. There's even a sign around town. Great place for space.
Yeah.
So why not? I would say embrace it. Embrace the alien. Embrace the space. I'm a fan of space. Yeah. So maybe I'm a little biased.
I have family in Roswell, dude. That's all
That's all I gotta hear.
we're Martians, bro.
Nice.
So this is a Got Bud T-shirt that we made up, and we just thought it was kind of cool. Has that? That has our logo.
Nostalgic.
Yeah, has our logo on the back of it. These were printed by Morningstar there in Silver City, New Mexico. These T-shirts are original T-shirts that were made by D2 Designs here in Las Cruces as well. And yeah, man, we just try to show love to both Las Cruces and Silver, just because, like I said, we have strong roots in both towns. This is some of our prepackaged flour. This is our blueberry muffin. I don't know if you could see that, but yeah, you got to smell it.
Oh,
I wish it was smell-o-vision. We actually got second place in indica flour in the Essie awards.
Oh, okay.
For that.
So this one in Essie.
Second place.
Second place Essie.
Yeah, and then I should have brought. The funny part is for the Essie awards, we won best dispensary in the Southwest Quadrant.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was so busy PRing, like I was passing out flyers and cards and all that stuff, and they announced our name, and we didn't even hear that we won. So it was kind of like a just go show up and then come back home. Yeah. And when I was driving back to Silver City, Zach from Mesilla Valley Extracts, he calls me and he's all, congrats, dude. And I was like, congrats for what? And he was like, dude, you guys won best dispensary in the Southwest. And we're like, quadrant. And I thought they were messing around with me. And he was like, no, for real, bro. Like, we like started clapping and we're like, dude, hell yeah. And you were like nowhere to be found. And I was so focused on just like making connections with different manufacturers and growers and stuff like that. And didn't even expect to win, you know what I mean? Especially with how many people were in the nominations, you know what I mean? It was pretty crazy, but it was pretty cool. And shout out to Kerpel magazine now, because they're dope.
Anthony Ortiz.
They're good. They're good people. Yeah, Monica Chavez and all stuff.
I've known her for years. Yeah, we go back.
Yeah, super dope people, dude. And I was like, dang, thank you guys. They're like, yeah, man. They're like, we were shocked on how many votes you got. They're like, because especially it's Silver and it's that little hidden thing. But I think that just because even some of our roots here in Cruces, like there's probably people that never even went to our dispensary that just voted for us just because of, you know what I mean? Just
the name and the logo, maybe.
Maybe that too, bro.
Yeah, seeing the buffalo, you don't see that a lot in the state, you know.
No. So the reason behind that is we bought the old Buffalo Bar there in Silver. So our plan with that is it's a 20,000 square foot building, and what we want to do is build a weed co-op inside of that building, and that way we could get local farmers and maybe people that can't afford to open up their dispensary and stuff like that. Sure, we have a small little like cubicle thing, so that where they could go in there like a farmer's market almost.
Yeah, like a 10 by 20 room or something like that.
And they could have their own little shop. But yeah, man. So that's where the name came from with this.
That's cool.
But this is Platinum Diesel, and just smells really good. And Yeah, it's good quality product. All of our stuff tests in between that one tested at 23%, and then the blueberry muffin this time around tested at 28%. And we've had kind of stuff a little bit all over the spectrum. We've had stuff test at 29. We've tested stuff, a couple different times because we've gone tests that come back at like 30, and we're like, oh, let's really, because we want to be open and honest even with the public, you know what I mean, about what we're growing. It's all good and great to get high THC scores, but you know what I mean, we want to make sure that it's accurate. And we've gone kind of all over the place, and our terpene profiles come in anywhere between 1.98.
That was my next question.
Yeah. So that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's not always about the THC percentage. It's the terpene profiles and what they come in at. And that's the one thing that I can say. Our terps come in amazing.
Oh, I can smell it.
Yeah, you can smell it. And we flush our plants right. We feed all of our stuff properly. And it's all a process, and it's a science. It's not just watering plants and doing stuff like that. And we've been blessed to be working with some really talented people within the industry and picking their brains, you know what I mean, of saying, all right, well, what do you think? Or what should we do here? And building those collaborations with people, because like you said in the beginning, that's what this industry is about. And maybe not sharing all your secrets, but you know what I mean? Like showing some stuff, and we've got it pretty good. But again, our terps come in anywhere between like 1.98 all the way up to like 3.9.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's good.
This one tested at a 3.2, and then the Platinum Diesel, even though it came in lower THC, it tested at a 2.98.
Yeah.
So they're good terpene profiles. I'm like, I want to hit 4% terpene profiles. You hear that, you're like, oh, a perfect grow is going to be 4%, 4 to 5%. I'm like, damn, we're far off. So, but we're just building, man, and trying to get our product out there and do that stuff. And then these are some infused pre-rolls that we just launched, and they've been doing really, really good. We can't even keep these in the shelves, and they test anywhere between 39 to 44%. So they're keef, distillate, and whole flower pre-rolls. And then we add the extra terpenes that we use to flavor them. So we do that, and people seem to love them. Right now, we carry them at Dr. Green Organics. That's the sole location that we carry them here in Las Cruces. And then we
shout out to them.
Yeah, and then we carry in one dispensary up in Albuquerque. It's actually the 7 Points, their dispensary, so we put them in there. And then we carry them in 2 of the dispensaries there in Silver City. So we carry them at a Happy Herb, and then we carry them at they're gonna be picking them up at BOA, and then the third one is going to be DNS Holistics there in Hurley, New Mexico.
Nice. So you guys are kind of spreading out. Is it just these, or you guys have other products?
We have our flower in DNS, and then we have our flower in Happy Herb. BOA just barely picked up their some of our product, and it's just the infused.
Yeah.
And again, we don't wholesale a lot of our flower because we turn it into other products. So we're hoping to ramp up yields, so that way we could start wholesaling our flower, because I want to get into Cruces a little bit more, but I also want to wait till the
bubble's done its harm.
Dude, it's crazy.
It's taking people out, man.
It is. But
that's part of the business. It's healthy for the industry.
And that's the same way.
Sad as it is.
Yeah, and that's the same way even in silver. You know what I mean? There was supposed to be 14 dispensaries total, but some of them just couldn't get off the ground and do what they needed to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? And it's just, if you could survive it, then that means that you're doing good. And whoever knows, you know what I mean? We might be doing good for this year, and the next year, you don't ever know in any business.
Exactly.
In any business. So I just think that it's we started small for a reason.
Yeah.
And it was just to make sure that, take it step by step.
Yeah.
And not to try to compete with some of the bigger guys, because you know what I mean? When you do stuff like that, you're gonna fail naturally.
Yeah, and the pie's so big, that there's enough for most everybody. Yeah. Right now it's saturated, but that's like a natural process of a new industry.
It's like the old microbrews, dude.
Yes,
when
exactly.
When microbrewing became everybody, including myself, You know what I mean? And we brewed and stuff like that. And then I just thought to myself, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Fucking know how to brew beer, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is a little bit different. It actually is a lot of bit different. We know cannabis. You know what I mean? I don't even want to say how old I was when I started first growing my first plants. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things of, we know the industry, we know the price points, and you also have to make the prices affordable, because then it's like you said, there's always the streets, you know what I mean, the black market, and you want to put it at that comfortable level to where people say, okay, well, it's not priced out of my range, and they don't go to the street, and they could go into your store and say, all right, well, hey, they have $8 pre-rolls, you know what I mean, that are made out of good product. You know what I mean? Or, hey, oh man, they're selling $30 grams of wax, or, you know what I mean? Hopefully we could get the rosin prices not a little bit more down, not too crazy high, because some people are.
Someone's going for over $100.
Yeah,
per gram,
dude.
You know?
And I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
And I love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if that's like even part of the reason, even with our flour, I'm like,
because you said you sell at $10 a gram, I think.
We go, so it just kind of depends, depending on the THC, the terp levels, and stuff like that. So it ranges anywhere between $8 to $10 a gram, and
That's
then
still pretty reasonable.
It totally is. And then like these pre-rolls, they go for anywhere. When we're doing sales, we sell them for $12, and then when they're not on sale, they're $15.50.
Okay.
So we sell that.
I mean, they're infused, so that makes sense.
Yeah. And like we have $100 ounces, we have $120 ounces, but we outsource for that flour, because with this stuff, I wouldn't be able to do it.
You'd be taking a huge hit.
Just our electricity bill. You know what I mean? Because it's indoor, and then we have kind of like a light depth. You've seen that little greenhouse area. Even with that, we have all of those high pressure sodiums, and during the winter, we're still growing during the winter. And it drops down to like 20 degrees. You know what I mean? So we have to turn on all those high pressure sodiums to keep it at 70, but they're working. You know what I mean? So our electric bill's pretty crazy. But we're affordable, you know what I mean? And even some of our edibles, of what we do, we try to price all of our edibles and our carts and our other infused products at a really good price. I always talk with Rob too from Headspace, and he always tells me, I love the way that you price our product at, because we don't mark it up real high. And he's like, that's, you know what I mean? It's about trying to move the volume versus trying to price gouge that extra $10. He's all, people think that I give you my product for a lower price because you have it priced. I was like, I wish you did, dude.
Right.
But even with him, so I've known him since I was probably like 8 years old, dude. Yeah, so it's just like working with good people and building those relationships. And I need to get with you too, man. And link up with you guys. Nothing but good things about even your guys' company, bro.
Appreciate it. Yeah. He's talking about Cruce's Craft Cannabis.
Yeah. Exactly. Man, I mean that though. It's you know what I mean? And it's just linking up and creating that and spreading out the love, and even getting you some of our flour to turn into some rosin.
Nice.
Do all that stuff, bro.
Yeah, we're down to do that.
Yeah.
And, we're ready. So, but I want to keep talking about Buffalo Buds. We're getting on some great conversations, though. Yeah, we keep going on. No, don't apologize. I just want to keep going with you. What you guys got. So, do you have any online ordering?
I don't. So we're building our website right now.
Okay.
I've been saying that for the last year, but we really are. I just want to make sure that, again, I'm like OCD.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that everything that we do it correctly. We're going to probably jump on with Weed Maps to just get an online platform and to link with
somewhere,
our website.
right?
Yeah, to do stuff like that. But my main focus was just focusing on the quality of the store and what we're doing there. So that way, when the website rolls out, you know what I mean? They're getting a good product.
Yeah, and it's not glitchy or laggy.
Yeah.
Or, it took my money.
Yeah, well, not just that, but even just perfecting the product of what we have. You know what I mean? I don't want to sell. I don't like cussing when I'm doing these type of things, but so we're not selling shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And getting good product. So
That's good. I mean, I'm glad that you guys are willing to wait to do it right.
Yeah,
that's always good to hear.
Yep.
Do you have any events or anything coming up?
Yeah, so we have an event coming August 19th, and we're actually partnering with the university.
Okay.
And which is Western New Mexico. They're like fully supportive of what we're doing.
Cool.
And they're doing kind of a back to school event, and they want us to be a co-host of the event. So we're doing that, and then we are working with the New Mexico Cannabis Chamber, and they are actually looking on doing a Harvest Fest in Silver City, October 14th. We're looking at.
Okay, so I'll probably see Ben Lewinju there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know Ben well.
Yeah, so we're working on that, and then I'm actually working with Monique to have the Southwest Cannabis events, right? And we're going to be bringing down her event company to be hosting some events. I'm probably going to shoot this spring. We were trying to do it earlier, but we had some stuff going on with our family, so I had to push it back. Yeah,
it happens.
It happens. But those are pretty much all the events, man. And we're constantly having live music out on the patio there at Buffalo Bud. Constantly doing, sponsoring events, whether they're concerts or comedy shows and all that stuff. So we're always trying to just get involved and be involved with the community.
That's good, because some places they kind of refuse to get involved with the community. I don't really know why, because you only do good for yourself and the community when you do that. It's a whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
The better the community does, the better you do. And then vice versa.
Yes,
Every now and then you got to take a terpene smell. Terpene break.
Yeah,
wait, pop that. Wait.
They're childproof, bro. That's how you know they're childproof.
That does smell good.
Smells good, huh?
Oh my god, which one is this one?
Which one is that?
It's the Peach OG Strawberry Lemonade. That does smell really good. Yeah. Here.
That's
terpene break.
Wedding cake gushers.
Yeah, I like that. Ooh.
Yeah.
Definitely good. So terpene break over. So anyway, can you let everybody know before we move on where you're located at, your hours of operations and everything?
Yeah, so we're right in the heart of downtown Silver City. It's 910 North Pope Street and Silver City, New Mexico. And then our phone number there is 575-597-0420. So 420. Yeah, it's pretty dope, dude. The phone company actually asked because they knew what we were doing. They're like, "Hey, you want this number?" I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty cool."
Thanks for asking.
Yeah. So we're right there, and again, we're in Dr. Green.
Okay.
Organics. Yeah, you could get the infused joints. We have that there. They want some of our flour too, and hopefully we'll be getting some of that stuff in there, but just taking it slow.
The flour's pretty fire. I smelled a few of your jars back at the grow. So that's good to hear.
And I'm leaving some of this stuff for you guys too.
I appreciate that, man. Hell yeah. That's always great to have. What are the hours of operation though?
So we're open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Okay.
And then Sundays from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m.
Okay.
And we're looking to extend the hours on Sunday, but for right now, there's just till 4 p.m.
Yeah, that's not bad anyway. Sunday's a pretty chill day.
Yeah, 7 days a week.
Yeah, especially in a small town.
It's pretty. If you're ever out in Silver, go out there. It's a nice little place.
Yeah, check it out. You got a little consumption lounge you can hang out and get some steaks. So I really appreciate you joining me today. And,
dude.
Having this great conversation about Buffalo Buds and the history and everything. And, your background in restaurant and all that, really kind of resonates, and it kind of, helps you out in the industry because you kind of know what you're getting into, but at the same time, it's still a little different.
Yeah, it's there's similarities, but it is a lot different. The regulations are totally different.
Oh yeah, night and day different.
Totally different.
So.
And we don't have to send our food to get labbed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't have to go take this piece of steak off and send it to a lab. That would be kind of hilarious, right? So. But thank you again for joining me. We're going to continue the conversation, and I'll try to get out of here because we were talking for a hot minute. So, it's all right. That's what we're here for. We're here for conversations, man.
Good. Dude.
Yeah. So moving on, we're going to be talking about Cookies, the company from California. It looks like they're going to be coming to New Mexico, and it is confirmed. It's been a rumor for past year or so. I heard about it. I'm pretty sure everybody heard about it, and we were kind of just wondering when and where. And through a post from Instagram from Vital Mech. I guess he's from Bloom, and I guess Bloom and Cookies are collaborating or something like that. He had a picture of himself in a grow, And he said, Albuquerque, we're coming, blah, blah, blah. But I also had word that there's in Sunland Park, aka Little Dubai, there's a building down there that, you know, it looks like it's going up, and they have a city council hearing for it. So that could be a cookies place there, because to be honest, that would probably be one of the smartest places that they can take cookies is Albuquerque and Sunland Park.
Yeah.
You know, those two areas, because Sunland Park's kind of still getting set up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's still a lot of people out there. And I mean, cookies has mixed review reputation, you know, from what I've seen myself. I've never had cookies. I can't really say for myself how good it is, how good it isn't, personally. But I do know that some people hate it, some people love it. But what I think the issue is, they're an MSO, so they're in different states, and so not every grower is going to grow like the one in California. Yeah. So you have inconsistencies. Yep. You know,
I think that's the biggest thing of even with companies coming in from out of state is that it's not the original. You know what I mean? But people got to understand that's like, I always revert to restaurants. It's like the original Ruth Chris.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like the one that's probably in El Paso.
Yeah.
So I think it's good. I think it's going to open a lot of doors, a lot of jobs. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. But yeah, I've had cookies. I'm neutral, bro.
Yeah.
I think that it's great. I think that it's going to make, again, a lot of people step their game up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that there's going to be mixed reviews. There's probably going to be people who'll be like, it's not that great. You know
it's like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
You know, this and that. And,
but
you know,
again, it's the same thing. You're going to pay for the product.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And you're paying for the name.
Yeah, because cookies isn't cheap. I mean, we went to the opening, the one on Rodeo Drive,
mm-hmm.
and the prices were...
How much for an eighth?
I walked out, bro, because the prices were so high. I'm like, this is cool. It's nice.
Yeah.
I had to ask my little cousin. He's the one that went in there and he bought stuff. But I mean, they're probably like, I think he said that they're like around like $80 or $90 for an eighth or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I don't want to misquote, dude, but
yeah.
I'm almost pretty sure. And again, it is on Rodeo Drive, so I couldn't even imagine what the rent is for that. But to me, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's why you're going to find that market for everybody. There's going to be people that go in and they're going to buy that.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be people like, hell no, I'm going to pay $30.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But it's the same type of people that, you know, they won't buy a bottle of Ace of Spades, you know what I mean? Or they won't buy, Dom P.
Yeah.
They're like, Cooks is cool for me.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
I'm Cooks. I'm like, give me a bottle of champagne, it all tastes the same.
Yeah.
But I guess it all depends on the thing, but I think that's pretty cool that they're coming in.
Yeah, and like we open it up for everybody. There's a bunch of other MSOs that are here. Swazi's here, and they're buying up other companies. I don't know if Cookies is going to be kind of coming in with that same platform. I think they are established enough in the industry with their name that they don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Unlike Swazi, who, people are like, oh, Swazi.
Yeah.
But they just buy up different MSOs and kind of keep the name, or the different companies and kind of keep those names. So I think that's another reason why. Because in Oklahoma, Cookies kind of didn't do well, but they're so saturated in Oklahoma, it's more saturated than a swamp.
Yeah.
It's crazy there. And so that probably could be a reason why. And the fact that they probably just didn't have a good grower, because they bring all the genetics to the grower and he's allowed to grow it. And, who knows? The grower just couldn't have been good. And, they could be cliquey like New Mexico and say, screw out of state people. That could be the issue. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Cookies here in New Mexico.
I think they're going to do good.
I do too.
You see a lot of people wearing their apparel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sporting their backpacks.
Yeah.
Wearing their shirts.
Sweats. With $100 sweats.
Socks.
Yeah. It's $50
sandals.
socks. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they'll do all right. I'm like, buy my shirt for $25 though.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Keep it local.
I think it's all good competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that doing that type of stuff, and it's like what you said, if they don't get a good grower, you know what I mean? Or to like hit that type of quality of what Cookies is supposedly known for, they might not do well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because we're getting picky here. New Mexico cannabis is improving, at a very fast rate.
It is.
It's crazy how quick our cannabis is getting. The hash game here is almost comparative to, it's under California, probably second. too, because the hash game here is ridiculous. I went to the Hash and Hetty's event, and
man,
there's so much good hash in the state.
Oh, well, you just see it; it's just clean.
Yeah,
you're like, what the? Right.
It's ridiculous. Right. So, but that's it about Cookies. That's there's really not too much to talk about it. If you guys don't know who Cookies is, the rapper Burner, he's the owner of the company. From what I understand, he could be partner with the company. You know how business works.
Yeah.
But he promotes it very well. He has a very good marketing team, and he markets the brand well. If you're a fan of the product, cool. I've never tried it, so I can't really make a judgment myself. I've heard mixed reviews. So.
I've just tried one of their vape carts.
Okay. Well, there you go.
It tastes like a vape cart.
Yeah. It's a vape cart's a vape cart, no matter where you go, right?
Yeah, never tried their flower. Nah, but you know what I mean. It wasn't. I mean, it was cool.
Yeah, it's more of a niche thing. I kind of feel, more than anything.
Yeah.
So, but moving on, we're going to be talking about patient numbers in the medical cannabis patient program here in New Mexico. As you guys know, we've been New Mexico has been a medical cannabis state since around 2007. That's when the governor signed the bill. And around, it takes about a year or two for everything to kind of get set up. But we didn't really start getting dispensaries till around 2010, I believe, 2011. And so now we're here. Fast forward now to today. The medical cannabis program has changed. It's improved a little bit. We have adult sales, and the patients that we have today is not the same patients that we had a year ago. And what I mean is the patient numbers. So the numbers are starting to dwindle more and more every month. But when I first got into the program, I was patient 8,000 something. This was like 2013. Do you have your?
I do. Yeah. I don't know. I've never looked at my patient number.
Well, back in the day, you were able to tell. There was like with the way the number was. They showed me like, here, this is your patient number. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm patient 8,000 something. That's cool. And so we went from 8,000 all the way to 135,000 at its peak last year. So last year around June, July, we hit 135, and then after that, it just started to drop every month. Yeah, we started to see a drop every month after that, and then now. Last year, like I said, we're 135. Same month this year, 99,000. And so, it's dropped at Alamogordo-sized town.
You would think that it would be more.
You would, because there's so many perks to having your medical card.
Yeah, well, the main one is you don't pay the tax.
Yeah, you save 20% off the bat no matter where you go. It's not like just select places. It's no matter where you go.
As a dispensary, as a retail, we prefer medical patients because it's like,
we're dealing with less taxes.
You know what I mean? It's just less any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's crazy.
Yeah.
We try to promote it. I mean, we try to get the nurse practitioners in to come in and to renew cards, and we offer that service. But I think that maybe people are just like,
it's too much of a hassle.
Yeah.
And I think people are still on the assumption that we were waiting 30 days for a physical card. No, it's all digital now. Yeah. I had my card within 48 hours of seeing my doctor. Like it was really fast. I've never received my medical cannabis card in the 10 years I've been in this program that fast. And that was great. And I like that it's on my phone because I can't lose my card. Like I can lose my phone, but I just re-download the document from the internet.
I need to look at my renewal date. So the main one that I used to go with was just the personal grow.
Yeah, the PPL.
The PPL.
Yeah.
I always made sure that I renewed that because I always wanted to have our plants. That way we could have them. But
you have a little bit more legal protections. Yeah. Like with that, even with your medical cannabis card regularly.
They should have kept that program, I feel, though. Even though it's legal, you know what I mean? I still feel that you have more protection when it is, like you said, when it's medical.
Yeah.
It's your medicine.
And so, I was a big proponent of, we could do that, but we shouldn't go through the process of having to do another application. If you're a medical cannabis patient, I kind of feel you should get that protection right off the bat. The same ones that we got with the PPL without having to apply for a PPL, because that was just a nightmare. At the time I was renting, so I had to get written permission from my landlord. Yeah. And that was kind of a pain because not everybody wants to do that, and even if I'm just growing outside in a pot, I had to do that.
Signature, didn't you?
No, she was fine with it. She was cool with it. Luckily, my landlord was cool, and I actually ended up buying the house from her. Nice. Yeah, and so they gave me a good deal right for his signature. It's like, not been fraud on this. So, but the patient numbers, they are a little alarming. But we were only at a peak about a year ago of the whole program. It was only 135,000. We're at 99 now. It could go back up, if people start realizing that I want to save 20%, at the store. and sometimes they give you even a more of a discount or a different menu price, like this is recreational price, this is medical cannabis price, and that's kind of what you're seeing.
Yeah, we don't. We just do one solid price, but we always tell the guests, like, if you get your medical card, you could get you're not paying that extra 20%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're like, oh, really? And that's a lot of it. And some of them are people that have medical issues and they just don't want to see the doctor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, I would.
Yeah, I would too. It's not like the doctor's going to go poke you with a needle. It's not that like that. That's not the way those appointments really work.
No.
Yeah, they're really assessing. They're looking at your documentation, and then they may examine a little further whatever you're trying to qualify for, but it's really not that intrusive at all.
No, not at all.
And it really doesn't take that long, 20, 30 minutes at the most. And there's just way more perks. Like I'll list them right now. So you're allowed to possess more than someone who doesn't have a medical cannabis card. Someone who doesn't have a medical cannabis card, they're allowed 2 ounces outside of their home. You're allowed 8 ounces. You also get more legal protections. You get the employment protection. Now, I have some issues with the employment protection because I feel it doesn't go far enough. But here in the state, we have so many federal contracts and so many jobs that are federal that it makes it a little hard to do that. But I kind of feel like some jobs are still able to discriminate, just the way that it's written. It's like, well, you can, but you don't have to, kind of thing. And, that's something that kind of worries me. I feel like if you have a medical cannabis card, you shouldn't be discriminated against like that. Cause I've been discriminated against, because I have a medical cannabis card.
I don't think that anybody really in the workplace should be discriminated as long as they're not coming in like stoned out of their minds, you know what I mean? And they're functioning. And that was kind of always the rule that we always had, not necessarily with this, but any other businesses that we did was, people are going to, if they smoke, they're going to smoke.
Yeah.
And I grew up with all my uncles, you know what I mean? They had smoked and for me, it was kind of like normal, but it was one of those things of just don't be getting high at work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like don't get drunk at work.
Yeah, exactly.
Two simple rules.
But isn't that funny how if someone does come in drunk at work, it's kind of like not frowned on. Unless
they laugh at it more than anything.
Yeah, unless they're like
hammered. Yeah, like blacked out.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. I think there's just that level of, all right, you know what I mean? If it's for someone that has an issue, you know what I mean, as a medical issue, and that's what either brings them and calms them or allows them to focus or, you know what I mean, allows them to stand on a leg or something like that might be hurt or had an old surgery or something that's wrong, you know what I mean? And that's what allows them to function, and they could function and they do a completely good job. I think that it should be, but then there's that thing too with workman's comp that if they do test positive, workman's comp doesn't cover them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's again where the federal things come in, and it's just like they should just make it federally legal.
Yeah, because at this point, we have to do all these workarounds.
Yeah.
And that's probably one reason why these people are like, well, I don't want to get my card. I shouldn't have to. It's legal.
Yeah.
But there are more perks. Even something simple as going to an event. I've found if I have a medical cannabis card, I'll get a discount on the ticket to get in.
Really?
Or get free admission. Yeah. So a lot of places that's how people want to promote too. I find that great. Like promote patients. Because this is who started it was the patients. This is where our industry comes from. So, if you have a medical cannabis card, sometimes doesn't even stop at the retail location. Sometimes you go to events, you go to other places, you get hooked up just for having it. Like if I go to Dr. Green and I buy some equipment, lights or whatever, I'll get a discount for having a medical cannabis card.
Wow.
So it's, things like that, small things, and it goes pretty far. So keep that in mind. If you guys are watching, you're like, oh, I don't want to get my card. It's just, I don't know. It just makes sense to me, to have your medical cannabis card in, these days.
Yeah.
I've
had mine.
Yeah. I've had mine for years, so, it only makes sense. So that's all I had about the cards. I just thought it was really interesting, the way the numbers of the patient
I thought you were going to
to
say it was going to go up.
Oh, dude, I wish. I predicted that it was going to drop about 50% last year before we went legal.
Really?
And it's dropped about a little over 25% now. So it's still climbing. So we're still headed towards that 50% right now. We're about halfway.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we'll see where it stops, and we kind of level out or something.
Isn't that weird though? That makes no sense.
It makes no sense whatsoever. It should be going up.
Yeah.
It should be going up by a lot.
The doctors need to get out there and push it.
You guys need to go out there and hustle. You're the ones doing these cards.
No shit, dude.
You don't even have to pay for it these days. They can use your insurance.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really come out your pocket.
Well, isn't that what they were saying even too? That they were trying to get it to where. Wasn't there that thing of like medical, like the insurance was covering it or something like that? They're trying to get insurance to cover the actual flower.
Yeah. So Ultra Health, Duke, he's actually in litigation with I think a couple other spots to get insurers to pay for your cannabis because something within the law or whatever.
Yeah.
And one thing I do know about Duke is he doesn't sue for no reason.
Yeah.
Or for whatever. He's usually pretty sure about it, and that's where it could change. That was big because one of his lawsuits was the reason why workers' comp has to pay for our cannabis now. It's even on their website.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you go to their website, I forget where it's at. If you scroll on it, medical cannabis, and they say that they have to pay for your medical cannabis because it went up to state Supreme Court and they lost.
Oh, so workman's comp has to pay for the medicine.
For the medicine.
But not necessarily the injury then.
Yes. They have to pay for your cannabis. So I'm not too sure how the rest works, but I know I'm looking at the website one time. I was like, clear as day right there. Says that you have to pay for your cannabis.
Thank you, Duke.
Right. So that's all I talk about the patients for this one, guys. The patients are near and dear to my heart because I am one and he's one too. And a bunch of us are. 99,000 of us are in the state. So if you don't have your card, go get it. Let's get these numbers back up and, stop paying taxes. We complain about taxes all the time. Well, here's one way to give the government a finger and not pay taxes. If that's your, motive.
MO.
Yeah, if that's your MO, there's one way. So moving on, we're going to be talking about pros and cons of legalization here in New Mexico. And this is going to be the NM Area 420 edition. I have a Facebook group on Facebook, and, we post all the cannabis stuff. And I asked a question last week, and it was name one pro that you have seen with cannabis legalization and one con that you've seen with cannabis legalization. So, there was quite a bit of both. And I wasn't too shocked on really the results of what I saw because none of this is what I said. None of this is coming from me. I just took it straight off the post and what the comments is. And, I didn't put verbatim, but, pretty much what they meant. So one of the pros was the prices have dropped. On the medical side, it was pretty expensive. And even yourself, $8 to $10 a gram. That's great because we were paying $15 to $10 a gram. Albuquerque paid way less. But that's what they're saying is the prices have gone down. I agree. Prices have gone down.
Because carts were even like $70, $60.
Yeah, something ridiculous
for like half-gram carts.
Yeah. It was crazy. But now there's so much more availability. We have better prices, which that was the reason why we wanted to do it that way. Access, we have way more access to cannabis. Before I've been in the program for 10 years. When I first got into the program, I was in Alamogordo. I was living there. That's where I'm from originally. And the only place I could get cannabis was here in Cruces. There was like one, maybe two dispensaries at the time, or Ruidoso. I had no other option of going anywhere else. And so now I can't throw a rock without hitting a dispensary. And, it's saturated right now, but eventually it'll level out. But it's great to see that anywhere that I go, I can get cannabis.
That's the pro and the con.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Con for some people, pro for me, because I just feel it's more available. Unlike California or Colorado, New Mexico didn't allow cities to ban, dispensaries. Because when I go visit my dad's family in Colorado, they're from Florence Canyon City, which, the whole county banned, all recreational sales and everything. So I have to go to Pueblo 30 minutes to get any kind of cannabis. And it doesn't really make sense to me because that county is lost out on, I don't know how much money, and then the fact that it's just weird. I can go to the liquor store in Canyon City, but I can't go to a pot store in Canyon City. You know what I mean? And it could have changed. I haven't been there in a couple of years.
It's because it's the devil's grass.
It's the devil's grass. That devil's lettuce, God damn it. So it's great that we do have access. Pretty much everybody in the whole state, has access to cannabis somewhere. And I'm glad. That's something that I fought for when I was an advocate. We fought and we just touted the access. We need access, and we do now. So that's great to see. Another thing is everyone has the chance to participate. And that's something that I saw a couple times. And I really do agree with that too. I like the fact that everyone's had the chance to get in. Now, is it perfect? No. There's a few things I could change to make it better. But I like the fact that everyone it's kind of a little bit of a, level playing field when, on certain areas.
Yeah. I think that overall, I think it's a pretty good balance. I think there's more pros than cons.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, to be honest with you, I really can't think of any cons other than I really can't think of any.
Yeah, well, we'll get to those here in a little bit. There are a couple cons that people mention. Will I or you or anybody agree with them? It's up to you. You know, this is just what people's opinions are online. Taxes made from cannabis is kind of helping improve the state, which I agree. It's not the only industry that's, you know, providing that, but cannabis is, you know, helping. And I agree, you know, mostly Texas. So thanks, Texas. That's, you know, buying out of state cannabis from us right now and, you know, helping us with those taxes. How do you feel that, you know, the taxes have kind of helped so far? I mean, it's only been about a year, so we haven't really seen the real, you know, impact of it.
I think that the tax man waits for no man. No,
he's there everywhere you are.
You know, I think that it's good. You know what I mean? As long as it goes to something beneficial for the state, whether it's education, whether it's just maintenance for roads, bridges, stuff like that. I think that as long as it's used for the right thing, you know what I mean? There's always going to be tax, man. So I think that that's the biggest thing. I just wish that the only thing that I wish that it wasn't so high. Yeah. So that way for the recreational customer, you know, that it would be brought down. And another issue that what I've seen is that it's technically like we're getting double taxed because you charge them your local option district tax rate, and then you charge the tax on top of that. You
have the cannabis tax on top of the regular tax.
Top of the regular
that's what brings it up to 20%.
Well, no. So it's the 20%. You're charging it's 20%, but it's 12% plus the 8. But you're charging the 8% first, and then the 12% on top of the 8.
So it increases it even more because you're not combining numbers.
You're taking the total. So if it's 1008, right? Or 1008, then they're charging the tax on top of the 1008. So if you're charging the gram, like that's crazy. That's double taxing. So that's the only thing that I wish that they would just do the separation and say it's a 20% because it's actually coming out a little bit higher than 20%. And that's the only con that I could see, because even when I was talking with the CCD and the people from BioTrack, they're like, no, this is the way that they want it. And I was like, that makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense.
I was like, you're getting double tax.
And
it should just be a flat rate of 20% or whatever it is. Because even with us, so our tax rate in Silver City is going up to 9%.
Oh no.
So it's 9%. So
it's going to
plus
be
21%. And that's where I say that they should just be like whatever it is, but even if it is 21, just a flat 21.
And what's crazy is I saw a chart the other day, and it showed comparative of the taxes between all of the legal drugs we have in our nation: coffee, tobacco, alcohol, and it showed cannabis next to it. Cannabis was almost 80 to 90% higher than all of those almost combined. It's ridiculous.
And it's like, that's what I mean. And it's probably the least harmful
out of it
besides coffee. You know what I mean? Then all of that.
I agree. And, you know, it's one of those things that we're going to have to change. And it's something that I've been pushing for, because I told them, you know, if we don't, because in a few years, our taxes are supposed to go up in cannabis. And I think it's supposed to go all the way to 30%. But if we do that, we're going to end up shooting ourselves in the foot, because that's the reason why California is having such a hard time, because their taxes are just astronomical and they keep taxing everybody everywhere they go. You know, so if we don't lower the taxes, because right now we're starting to see the black market shrink here in New Mexico, and it is. You can see it. If we allow it to increase, it's going to start inflating back open. You know, we need to get our taxes in check. We need to tax cannabis, but it needs to be reasonable. You know, and this 20% thing is getting a little ridiculous,
especially because of what it's going towards.
And I kind of feel like that's a con. So I guess we'll mark that on the con side. You know, we were talking about it, but you know, I could talk about taxes on that, you know, a lot. But so another pro that I saw was that mom and pops have a chance. But I feel, and this is where my personal thing comes in, and a lot of people agree, they do need more plants. You know, mom and pops, you know, they had the chance to really get in, but I kind of feel that micros need a little bit more plants than 200. You know, like to be a little more competitive.
I think that they do too, because we're still a micro. And that's where I think that if you have the space, absolutely. And even with us, even if we had more space, because during the season, during harvest season, like right now, we could allow our plants to get bigger and then we could do more yields. But I was really hoping when they did that legislation that they were going to do that 1,000.
Yeah, me too. The 2,000. I think it was 2,000.
Was it?
Yeah. Because I've been pushing. I said 2,000 from the get. I said they need like 2,000, dude. Like 200 isn't really going to do much.
Yeah, and that's the hard part because again, it's like with us, we're not producing enough to wholesale.
Yeah, and for the viewers, it's 200 flowering plants. In New Mexico, we go with a flowering, non-flowering, or veg number. You get an unlimited amount of veg, and then the number that we state is flowering only. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, so it is kind of, you know what I mean? But I think I have hope that within the next, 2 or 3 years that the state's going to realize and that we're really going to dial it in.
Yeah.
And I think that we, compared to a lot of other states, we're doing a lot better.
Yeah.
We opened up the floodgate, but I also think that it's a lot better than a lot of other states were doing.
I think what we did is we had a controlled floodgate is what we did. Is we allowed it open, but it's going to stabilize itself the way we did it.
Yeah.
If we did it any other way, it probably wouldn't work the way it's working.
Yep.
If it was too high of tax, I say 20% is actually right at that little teetering stage. Anything more would probably tip it over. So, we didn't tax too much. We allowed everybody in. We didn't keep the licenses like millions of dollars. It's very reasonable. And so, we took a lot of what these other states did and we said, that didn't really work. Let's not do that. And we created some things for ourselves too. I mean, we really are pushing and leading the way for the consumption lounge thing. That's something that I pushed for years. I'm glad to see that there's a lot of pros going on. Another one is freedom to buy and smoke cannabis wherever you are. And I say that because some places have, like here in Cruces, 24/7 shops. So you can smoke and buy cannabis whenever the hell you want. And I find that cool. Like you just, if I'm visiting my parents, all right, I'm gonna go smoke weed with some friends, whatever, and it's great.
Yeah. And I guess that gets back to that original comment of trying to get rid of that stigma with anybody that feels opposite. You know what I mean? It's like if you're at a tailgate thing, there's people cracking open beers everywhere.
Keg stands.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And everybody's cheering them on.
Sloshed. Yeah. Breaking tables.
But if there was a person to go and probably take a hit out of a joint, they'd be like,
what are you doing?
Record screech. But I think that's good too. And that's one of the things of even in Silver that we were trying to push is to get a store to stay open 24.
Yeah.
But the town itself dies out like at 8:39.
Yeah, there's just certain places that model just isn't going to work. And and when I was in Otero County, we actually convinced them to do no hours, and they could have changed it by now. And I remember Coy Griffin even was like, you know what, if you don't have the product, I guess you ain't going to be open. And I was like, holy shit, I agree with you on that one. Actually, wow. So, and it makes sense. If you don't have the product, you ain't going to be open. Or if you don't have the means, you're not going to be open. And there's not that many 24-hour shops right now to really make a difference. And I like the 24-hour shops for the people who work late, who work night shift, or whatever, someone who needs it just randomly in the middle of the night, So, but I do want to go back because the next thing for pros is stigma. The stigma is slowly starting to die. Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's prevalent in other areas and it's still there, but it's slowly starting to die. And I love the fact, like more people are welcoming to it. They're more acceptable of, smoking. Like now when I go somewhere, I'm like, hey, do you mind if I smoke some weed? Yeah, just go smoke on the porch, whatever, even if they don't, they're usually pretty cool about it, and they're not like, oh my God. Unless I go to Alamogordo
or Florence.
Oh, Florence, Florence,
Colorado.
Oh God, yeah, that's where my dad's from. So, but it's good that the stigmas are going away, and like you've talked about it and touched on it too, and I'm glad that it is. And this show too is something that I did to try to help fight that stigma. To show people that stoners just aren't sitting there, laughing all day doing nothing. But moving on, we will start talking about the cons. There's no pro without the cons. So it looks like they were saying that medical cannabis quality has gone down of the cannabis itself for patients. And I'm thinking more or less they're talking about edibles and stuff like that. On the medical cannabis side, we did have actually really good edibles and a very good selection. Like I was able to get Snickers one time. Well, no, actually, sorry, Payday. It wasn't like a real Payday, but they had made like a Payday and it was really good.
Here in New Mexico?
Yeah, here in Cruces. Yeah, it was at Mother Earth back in the day. Yeah, she had some Paydays. They were actually really good. And so, we had a wide selection. It was actually really good edibles, and so that I can see kind of being a thing, because we don't get like a limited amount of milligrams per package for medical side, because patients need significantly more milligrams of THC than a regular rec person does, because sometimes they use it for pain and they can't smoke. And so,
what do you think that caused that? Why do you think that they're no longer making like?
It's law. It's more law versus them just not doing it. They kind of capped everything, and so right now it's 100 milligrams per package, I think is the cap. And with medical patients, I think we had 500 milligrams on the medical side at one point.
But you could still carry the 500 in your shop.
Yeah, you just have to. It's just harder for patients because then they have to buy individual ones instead of just buying one big package.
I thought that it was different for medical patients. Like a medical patient could buy a 300 milligram package.
It's just they haven't really been doing it either. It's one of those things. Yeah, because like they capped it, and for some reason, people aren't doing it either, and I don't know why.
Yeah, we're working. So that's the thing with like High Five edibles out of Santa Fe. Yeah. They're still making their candy bars 300,
Thank
400.
God. Yeah.
And we're getting that because, so from what I understood, and I hope I'm doing
because hopefully they changed it.
So I thought that only the rec patients could only buy 100 milligrams.
Yeah, that's where it's at.
Yeah. And then the medical, they could get up to whatever their limit is on that thing.
I forget what it is.
I can't.
But what sucks is if you buy from the shop and you go over your limit, you have to wait.
Yeah, but we have higher things. But it would be cool. Like I've always, because you've seen it, like where they would have like hot Cheetos, that were infused, or they had Snickers, or they had like even Funyuns and or Airheads and all that stuff.
I've seen tea.
Yeah,
tea is pretty cool.
Still haven't seen anything like that, and that's why I'm like, dang man, like I wish that it would be a little bit more creative. Yeah. Than, you know what I mean? Like
just here's 100 milligrams for everybody.
Yeah. Here's the same gummies.
And if we have the means, and if we are allowed to do that, because, things change all the time with the CCD and everything, do it, do it for the patients. I'll give them 300 milligram bars, give them 500 milligram packages, because patients could really use it. And that's probably, where this complaint comes from is, we just don't have enough. And I don't buy a lot of edibles, from the shops to start out with. I make my own. And so I don't really see it that much.
And it could be even too that maybe even the shops that they're going to aren't informed that
that's another issue.
They could sell 300 milligram.
Yeah. Because a lot of them just sell the 100 milligram bags across the board. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be that way.
You could get every shop is medical and recreational. Yeah. By law, aren't you supposed to have 10% of your shop?
I think it's 20 or 10, or 10,
something like that of your shop for medical patients.
Yeah.
So for us, we have a big selection of edibles, and we have stuff that's 300 to 400 milligrams.
That's great.
Yeah, High Five Edible makes a 420 chocolate bar.
420 milligrams?
420 milligrams, dude. But we have to make sure that we're selling it only to medical patients, because that's where with BioTrack, it don't stop you.
Oh, okay.
It don't stop you from selling a medical bar to a rec.
So that's probably some of the business or the retail's issue is probably like, well, I don't know if my employee is going to hook their homie up or something. Yeah. So you shouldn't have that worry. You should be able to trust people, but there's the way things are. We think should be
the way it is.
Yeah. There's the way things are. It's sad to see that people are experiencing this, and it could be people that are in smaller towns, or it could be people that just don't want to explore more. Or maybe they live in Albuquerque and going from one side of the town to the other is just a pain in the ass, which I totally understand. That's,
I don't like, I travel so much. I don't even like driving anymore.
Yeah, me too. I totally get you. So, but we'll move on and we'll talk about more cons, because there's a few more here, and we've been on here for a hot minute. It's been a good conversation, though. That's why sometimes when my shows go long, it's just because we're having such a good conversation. The quality of cannabis that some of the places are selling, I guess, is really bad. And I've seen it, moldy, bugs in it, kind of just nasty cannabis. And that's unfortunate. But places like this, they won't be around, in the end. And stay vigilant, guys. If you do get moldy cannabis weed, contact the place first, see if they can remedy it, fix it. If not, you are allowed to contact the CCD or the DOH really, and to let them know, because if you're getting moldy weed, that's not good. That's bad. People shouldn't be getting moldy weed to start out with, because the reason why we went legal is to get away from issues like that.
Yep.
Untested cannabis, dirty cannabis, and all that. So it's sad to see that, but that's going to be happening, and it's something that's worth mentioning.
Yeah, I think, and that's just another thing of wherever the retail stores or anybody, growers properly inspecting their product.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the same thing of when you're buying a product as a retailer, making sure that you're inspecting it before you take it. And if you see something wrong, remediate it, and just with whoever you buy it from, be like, hey, dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you're allowed to remediate it, but remediate it.
Yeah. Or to have them giving you product, you know
mm-hmm.
what I mean? Or whatever it is. And even with us right now, it's humid in Silver. So even with our stuff, we're dealing with humidity within the shop.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? With that humidity and with flour, it gets more moist and
mm-hmm.
starts doing all that stuff. So we have to take action on that type of stuff too. So that way we're not giving moldy nugs or moldy or stale edibles or whatever it is, mm-hmm. even though it's sealed. I think that does suck.
Yeah, it does. But, it's something I feel is going to get fixed in the future. The places that are just selling straight crap.
Yeah.
There's no way they're
not going to survive.
Yeah, they won't. There's no way. So just stay vigilant, guys. There are places out there that aren't following the rules, and they're also not selling, really good cannabis. And when I don't mean like quality, I just mean like there's crap in it that you don't want to smoke.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want to touch it. So the next con is going to be, someone said that they've seen MSOs all over the place, the multi-state operators, and, Cookies is coming. We have, Swazi here. And then I think another one I saw today was Loom, was another company. I'm not too keen on who they are. They're an out-of-state entity. Yeah. And they're going to be here coming to New Mexico too. We have Bloom. They're from Colorado. But to me, I don't really see them everywhere. I see more mom and pops than I do MSO. I don't know about you.
Yeah, and I've seen some other, you got some bigger companies, and maybe they're not too big, but what it seems like to me is that there's some of them that were mom and pops in other states.
Yeah.
And then they came here and opened up more here, and they still maybe have their 3 or 4 locations or mm-hmm. 3 locations over there.
Yeah.
Because I still consider a mom and pop, dude. Like even with us, even when if we go to 3 or 4 dispensaries here in New Mexico, we're still a mom and pop. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as getting these big companies, I haven't seen too many of them.
Yeah. I mean, some of them are starting to buy other New Mexico companies, but it's not like crazy.
Yeah, like there's Sublime with Mesilla Valley extracts, but they do great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They do good shit.
And they, I
mean, Top Crop even, they support local.
Yeah.
They're technically an MSO, and they're more mom and pop in Oregon.
Yeah.
Versus, huge MSO and, a bunch of states. So, I mean, there's something under that, and they do support local, and they're more about New Mexico stuff. And, you can't really argue with that,
And it just boils down, right, for you have Olive Garden and you have Lorenzo's.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I go to Lorenzo's.
Yeah.
Because I know that I'm getting better quality, better, like it's
money staying here.
Money, like, so I think that it's always going to be that no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just hopefully more of the mom and pops can survive, and these bigger corporations just give business to the small mom and pop growers or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I think it'll all balance itself out. But I haven't seen too many.
No. I mean,
everything here seems mom and pop.
From what I've seen, for the most part.
Yeah. You have, like in Silver anyways, the ones that are from out of state, like you have Canna Company, which is out of Arizona. And then you have Rocky Mountain, which is out of, Colorado. And then, you have Organica and Ultra Health, but then the other 7 are
straight mom and pop.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like either split in half or almost majority mom and pop.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Yeah, that kind of seems to be what I see everywhere.
Yeah.
It could be just be where people are living that they kind of see that. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
know. It could be Albuquerque. Maybe Albuquerque has all MSOs.
Yeah, maybe. But
maybe that's what it is.
I don't see a lot of MSOs either there. Like I haven't seen one really. Cookies might be the first real big name coming in to New Mexico like that. I mean, that I've
because Swazi's been here.
Yeah,
it's not like that's new. I mean, they bought our Greenleaf, I think, before legalization went online.
So who was the people that partnered with that Tommy Chong?
Oh, the Pure Life one?
Yeah. The So I mean but that's not like it's not affecting anything.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like, it's a total takeover. I mean, Ultra Health has the most dispensaries in the state, but it's not like it's hurting the industry really. Like they're the Walmart of weed, and Duke knows that.
Yeah.
He'll say that himself.
Everybody goes to Walmart.
Yeah, and, I go to Walmart still myself too. So I mean, it is what it is. So we'll move on to that one I could talk about like all day. Home grow. So someone had mentioned that patients should get more plants than rec people. And I agree. Medical cannabis patients tend to use more cannabis because they need it, and I feel that they should get more plants. Would that be more of a pain in the ass on the police or everything? Not really, because right now I haven't really seen too much of an issue from people having home grows to start out with.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're having 300 plants or 200 plants in the back of their yard.
Yeah. I mean, the best I can think is just doubling, patients and going from 12 to 24.
Yeah.
Just allowing patients that much more, because it just allows them to do more. But, you have that, mature plant thing, the immature, mature plant, maybe give patients 24 mature and 24 mature, that might help them out. But
and they said that was a con.
That was the con, that patients, because when we had the PPL, we did have more plants.
Yeah.
And maybe we need to go back to patients, just go back to that plant count for the, the patients. Like, okay, we'll go back to what the PPL had for the plant count. Don't bring the fucking PPL back. That thing's dead. Don't fucking bring it back.
Yeah.
If you just bring the plant count for that, then that might help. And that because it did work. You had 4 plants, in different stages is really what it worked out to. And it kind of worked out well. But I kind of feel, maybe 20 plants,
Yeah, 20, 24 plants.
Yeah.
And then too, I always just look at it from everybody's angle. Like if you live out, you know what I mean, in a rural area, it's not going to harm nobody.
No.
Versus you might get the knucklehead that has an apartment and tries to grow 24 plants inside of his apartment. But,
yeah. You get those knuckleheads everywhere though.
I would have been one of those. I would have been like, one time in my life. I would have been like, you know what I mean? Let's see how many plants we could fit in this shed.
Yeah.
But I think that it's just weed, dude.
Yeah,
that's the way that I look at it. Yeah. It's like there's a responsibility of it, but I could think of 20 other things that are so much more harmful.
I can brew beer at my house. Yeah. I can grow tobacco in my backyard.
It's all of it, dude. Yeah. Like, I mean, there's just so many drugs out there, whether it's whatever. I don't even want to say the drugs, but you know what I mean? There's just so many people that are doing other stuff that's so much more harmful to society other than growing some plants. You know what I mean? And I get it. It's a drug, but so is soda, so is caffeine, so is all this stuff. And I think if you grow as long as the person that you're doing it is responsible, but again, it's always that one irresponsible person that messes it up for everybody.
Exactly. I agree 100%.
But I agree with more plants.
Yeah. I think patients need more. And maybe we'll visit that. But don't bring back that goddamn PPL. Piss me off.
And micros need more plants.
Yes, both. So the last 2 things I have here for the, the pros and cons, or for the con, excuse me, is some people are saying it's about money and not about the patients. And, some places it is like that. And I have seen it. Is it everywhere? I'm not too sure. I haven't been to every retail establishment in the state. It's almost impossible at this moment. But there's the program itself right now. It's about half. Half of it is patient sales and half of it is rec sales. With majority of those rec sales coming from Texas. So there's still quite a bit of patients buying cannabis, and I guess some patients are starting to feel that we're being left out. The pricing, and I think what it is when we're talking about the edibles. Like the edibles thing. The 100 milligrams, you're still paying the same price as rec kind of thing. You only get 100 milligrams. You need 3, and you end up paying way more. So I mean, I could see maybe that's where they're coming from.
I would be pissed.
I would too.
Yeah, I'd be pissed, and I think that's what it boils down to, the retail owners. You know what I mean? Is understanding that and really catering to both the retail and the medical.
Yeah.
Because you need both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We do. Yeah. And I'm just speaking from us. And if it was about the money, I mean, I would have hung it up a long time ago. Because for me, it's about providing good quality product. And I believe it's just like an art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it really is to me. Like that's why we do it.
Definitely. I mean, your price shows, you're not gouging people with your prices, like that's actually very reasonable, especially for the quality.
Yeah. It's good quality. It's good stuff.
So the last thing that we're going to talk about for con is saturation. So this is something I can agree with, and that it is true. It is saturated right now. However, it's a temporary con. It's something that isn't going to be here for the long run. We're already starting to see numbers kind of slow down a little bit on the licensing and everything. It's going to take months for us to really see the impact of that and for it to really see the change. I would say about this time next year, we're going to be different numbers than we are today. But yeah, saturation is a con, but it's something worth mentioning, but it's something temporary right now.
Yeah, I think, and I agree with you on that. Like, it's just part of business, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that as long as we, whoever wants to dig their boots in and you know what I mean, wait in it for the long haul, they'll get through it. Everybody will get through it.
Definitely, 100%. So that's all I have pretty much for the show. But the last thing I have is events for the state. And I'm going to blaze through this one because we've been here for an hour and a half. I've had y'all. This has been a great episode. We've had so much to talk about, so many different, topics and everything. Gino's actually passed out. I got to kick his foot right here.
Yeah. Sorry, Gino.
My bad, Gino. So we're just going to go down with the events for this week. And if I didn't mention an event from last week, I'm not going to mention every event every week, guys. That's crazy. Once it gets closer to the event, I might mention it more. So in Sunland Park, looks like they're going to have the New Mexico Harvest Cup, and that's actually going to be down in Sunland Park. Usually it's somewhere else, like in the mountains over near Alamogordo. So that's going to be November 18th, and that's going to be at the Sunland Park Sports Complex. Again, I'm going to mention this when the time comes close. I just wanted to mention this because it just popped up. If you guys know, this is Matt Wright's event, or he's a part of it. And it should be pretty cool. I'm excited to see an event like this in Sunland Park because I don't think something like this has happened yet.
No.
So this will be really interesting. It's going to be at the Sunland Park Sports Complex. I'm not too sure where that's at, but I'm sure you can Google it. Next is going to be Roswell. Roswell has the Braggers Cup coming up on the November 4th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that's going to be at 1608 East Poe, Roswell. Plenty of time to get ready for that, but you're in the know now. Again, once the time gets closer, I'm probably going to be talking about both of these. Here's some more events that are coming up this month. In Albuquerque, we got the Joint Sicarios. They got the Southern Smoke Summerfest. That's going to be July 29th and 30th. There's going to be some rappers there. It looks like we're going to have a bunch of old school rappers that are well known. If you guys don't know, look it up online. That's going to be at the Rio Rancho Event Center, same place that the High Times Cannabis Cup is going to be in September. Same place, Albuquerque. Looks like September 22nd, 23rd. We're going to have another Lucky Leaf Cannabis Expo. That's a great expo if you guys want to go and network. I think did you go to the first one?
I did.
Yeah. Because I think I met you guys there initially, or I got a sticker or something.
Probably.
Yeah. I think that's where I got it's on my computer. So if you guys don't know, the Lucky Leaf Cannabis Expo, really good expo. They have, really good classes and stuff like that too. I went to the first one that they had here, and yeah, it was just really good information. Usually it's at the, event center or the whatever center they have in Albuquerque. Once that time gets closer, I'll talk about it again because this is something that I probably will attend. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about, and these two kind of coincide together, is Inhale Wellness. They're going to have the grand opening August 12th. So that's here in a few weeks. And then they're also going to, every second Sunday of the month, they have an event that they do, the Inhale Wellness, and it's has to do with like vending and stuff. There's no cannabis sales, but they are allowing vending and everything. So you go sell your merch and stuff like that. So that's going to be happening at 848 South Camino del Pueblo in Bernalillo, New Mexico. So that's all the events I have, guys. And that's all I have for this episode this week. Sorry it was so long, but we had a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on too.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming and joining me, man. It's been
talk a lot, my bad.
No, you're good. Like I talk a lot too. And when you get that combination, it just makes for a long episode.
Yeah.
So again, thank you guys for watching. I'll be back again next week. Thank you for joining me again, man. It was great.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you later.